Hey guys, it's Mysopods and more with me. I hope everything is going well with you and that you're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. And it's Thursday, so happy, thankful Thursdays. I had another long night, which is unfortunate, but the best part about Thankful Thursdays is when I wake up, if I'm in one of these bad moods, just having to reframe and recenter myself to do this video almost always brings my spirits up. So I am going to launch into 3 things I am thankful for. I am going to do that throughout the day, put that video together. I'm also going to be going to run errands and then doing stuff around here. So I hope everything is going well with you. You're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. But take a moment and let me know how everything is going well with you, how your week has been, maybe how your 2024 is going, how the weather is where you are. But if you don't mind, let me know maybe 3 things or 1 thing that you're thankful for. And I hope that you can find it, because sometimes we all need to take a moment and I say focus on something that we're thankful for. So we're going to hop into this. Go easy. Alrighty, so thankful Thursdays. The first thing I want to do is wait because I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Alright guys, now it's thankful Thursdays. Sorry if I'm puffy, I was just sneezing and blowing my nose. Sorry if I look tired, it's because I'm kind of adult, well, in one regard. I didn't sleep very well last night, even remotely. What I normally do is just get up and go about my day, and if I get too tired later, take a nap. But what I did like a bonehead today was lay back down and try to go to sleep, and basically just spent more time awake laying there and being unable to go to sleep and doing nothing productive. So I'm actually in a funk today. Right now anyway, which is why I love doing this. So I'm going to pump my spirits up by telling you guys about Wally Kern at Supreme Gecko and Isopods, and along with Nanette there. And I am thankful for, specifically at the moment, Wally and Supreme Gecko and Isopods. I'm going to talk about a lot more. So Wally Kern, if you don't know who Wally Kern is, and you know of me, even Ninja Kitty, you know who Wally Kern is. But if you don't, you're welcome, because I'm assuming after this, you're going to go click his stuff if you haven't and be introduced to him. Wally is another ambassador in the industry in so many things. I'm going to talk more about that. But first, I want to talk about Wally and I. And, you know, Wally, if you're watching this, thank you. But I'm trying not to talk to you so much as what I'm thankful for. But Wally has done a lot for me, a lot more than expected. Tolerating is not the right word, but I'm a lot at times. I'm overbearing. And I try to be very guarded in what I express to people. And I've gotten to lower that a little bit with Wally, a little bit. But again, I know sometimes I can be, the term I use is overbearing. I'm a lot. I miscommunicate a lot. And Wally has just been amazing, dealing with me, navigating that with me, helping me grow as a person, helping me mature, helping me become more business orientated, helping me become more focused, have more precise, clear goals, things like that. I could go on forever. I'm not going to, because what I want to talk about next is kind of less of what Wally means to me and what Wally means. And this is more about, again, Supreme Gecko and Isopods, Wally and Nanette. They are amazing people. They are very wholesome people. To me, that is arguably the trump card, the most important thing. I don't really care about what you do on YouTube or in life, as long as you're a good person doing it the right way, and that interests me. Throw in geckos and isopods and bioactives and I'm hooked. But my point is I'm just going to say Supreme Gecko and Isopod instead of all the names. Very similar actually to Brian, and it's in the forefront of my head recently. Wally is a person who has more or less transcended a lot of labels. And I mean that where I started in bioactive isopods. And I talked to Wally about that. And I'm going to point this out. When my first order from Wally, he sent me an extra order of Gestroy, which are my favorite isopods. But more importantly, I don't get a lot from people. When I do, it may seem maybe like nothing to a lot of people, or something, whatever. But to me, it means the world. Thank you, Wally, for that specific. But my point is, there are people who transcend labels, and I don't mean that to be melodramatic or hyperbolic. I'm going to explain myself. Peapods is more of what I would classify a reptile person. I know people, Chris Biggs, who talk to Wally about fish. I'm interested in Wally because of bioactives and isopods. And now I don't know Chris Biggs, but Peapods and so many other people will now, in my everyday life, talk about something that maybe doesn't have anything to do with me, but interests me or gets me interested or just introduces me and gives me knowledge to another facet of what I just call the hobby. Because to me, the hobby is starting to become something bigger than isopods, geckos, bioactives. It's, again, people are coming together and being linked. And Wally, Supreme Gecko, and isopods, Nanette, are providing links and bridges to people like us. And I just think that's so important, to be able to have that kind of magnetic personality that draws people together. But not only that, and this is important to me in the one-on-one thing, while Wally is amazing with his live streams and talking to people, what I respect also about Wally is he will give you the time. Now, you may have to schedule it because that's life. But, I have the same issues. He may be available on Tuesday and I'm not. And then Wednesday or Monday, my daughter has her math thing, so I'm not available. I'm sure we all have that. But once you get with Wally, it's this. It's, what do you need? What are you going through? Okay, and offering, well, me being Wally, I've done this. Have you tried this? I've in the past dealt with this, and it's you. Again, that is, to me, is so important, especially with today, as we get more online, as you guys get more online and get more behind screens. When someone provides that to you, it can, especially if you're the kind of person who's used to doing impersonal things behind screens, it's nice to have that focus, someone listening to you in the moment and having someone look at you, be there for you. And I think that is something Wally provides that is amazing. I kind of regressed back to what I'm thankful to Wally for and went on a little bit too long with this. So I'm going to end it and go do my shopping. So I hope this wasn't too long. I hope I did justice. And again, one of the things that I love about these Thankful Thursdays, but this kind of routine is, again, you can hopefully see me smiling more. I have, I can't feel it now because I'm sitting, or express it now, but I have that pep in my step. I'm more excited to go about my day, and that's awesome. So I hope that positivity rubbed off on you. And again, thank you, Wally. Thank you, Nanette, Supreme Gecko, and Isopod. You guys are awesome. Next, I am thankful for tomorrow. I have about 3 iterations of this that I express regularly. And I'm going to start with the most cynical or maybe dark version, which is, sometimes merely surviving is the ultimate form of resolve or defiance. This is the darker version because it is for those days where the moment has become a negative experience, but there's no end in sight. A moment can be an event, a few minutes, a day, or so on, and it can exist within other moments. So the moment of you having your first child, for example, is a moment that could exist in another moment, which could be your marriage. But now let's refocus. I've had days where I was completely overwhelmed. I could not take it and needed just the slightest form of respite or some way to get away or escape, just for a moment, just a hair, just a fraction. And I could not. And all I saw in the immediate future was more of what I was trying to get respite and peace from. All I could do was move forward, because at some point, this moment would end. And if this moment was this bad, it's incredibly unlikely that the next one would be any worse. And if it is, well, hey, sometimes merely surviving is the ultimate form of resolve. The next one is kind of a middle ground, but very similar to the above mentioned one, and it is, this moment too shall pass. It is so similar that I'm not going to beat the drum any longer about the point of it, but what I want to focus on is the perspective of it. In my opinion, while the first one is telling you, look, this is going to suck a lot, all you can do is go forward. That's it. This one, to me, is saying more, hey, take a deep breath and relax. Be patient, and you got this. You're right there. This moment, too, shall pass. Last, and the one I've taken to saying a lot more recently is, that is why God invented tomorrow. Now, this may rub some people the wrong way, but good thing for me that if it's rubbing you the wrong way, it's not really affecting me, so that's your problem. The thing here is, as I get older, I'm finding myself moving closer to God, and I find myself more easily letting things go, or this is the flip side of that coin, I am finding the ability to take more time and focus on something important right now, and when my anxiety starts to get up about all those other things I could or should be doing, I just stop and tell myself, that's why God invented tomorrow. If you believe in the Bible, God didn't do everything in one day or one moment. He rested. And even if you do not believe in God or the Bible, that lesson is true. Not everyone can do everything right now. Seeds grow over seasons. Babies grow and mature over time. Love is fostered and developed. Or as they say, and it's the same principle, Rome was not built overnight. I often tell my kids, the only day better than today is tomorrow. And I hope today is going awesome for you. If it's not, that's why God invented tomorrow. All right, guys. I now want to talk about one of my kids, Gabby, who I'm grateful for. And this is going to be hard, not for any big reason aside from the fact that I could just go off on so many tangents, and it's going to be hard to stay focused. Because again, I'm out here with no script or anything, and with the occasional squirrel or beaver or muskrat moment. So, to some people this will seem like a no-brainer, to some degree. But I still hope you get the lesson after. And to me, again, I had a different upbringing than what would be considered normal and or what would definitely not be considered optimal. So I got to experience a lot of things for the first time that a lot of you guys experienced yourselves. So for context is always king. This was back in my other life when I was married and working, living in a house. Again, at this time, I'm going to assume Gabby was 2 or 3. So maybe a little younger. And just at the age where they're sitting down, but they're still like that little, those little Kong toys where there's just, rolling like that. And so, in fact, let's switch here for a moment. So, I was sitting on a stair, and she was kind of in between my legs. And Now, again, context. So, I was ornery that day. I hope you can hear me well. I'm going to talk a little bit louder now that I realize that, because it would be a bummer to do all this and not have anything I'm saying come up. So, I was out of sorts that day, and I want to explain why, and not that it's the good reason, but just for the context. I'm a very routine-orientated person, and I had to leave work that day, which I would then have to make up. Not the end of the world, but she was in daycare at the time, and I didn't think she had to be. I had to go get her from daycare, bring her home, and the reason is she had allergies growing up. And so she would get runny noses sometimes, and they would think it was her being sick, and they would call and say, you got to pick her up. And you can't argue with them. It's just the way it is. So I had to go do that. Now, so I get home. I'm cranky about that. So I'm sitting, we finally get situated, and we're sitting like this, and I'm again, in that moment, all I could think about was myself. I was annoyed at all of that. She's sitting there, and then she starts playing with a box of tissue. And she takes about one or two up and does something like that and just kind of throws them up. And again, more context. I have very active sinuses. When in the first half hour of the morning that I wake up, you would think I have COVID because I'm sneezing and blowing my nose repeatedly. Additionally, because of all that and how often it does, I go through a lot of tissue, but I only buy certain brands because if I don't, or if I have to use anything that's not tissue, I get that very rough. I have a baby nose, so it gets very rough and annoying and chapped and bleeding and stuff like that if I don't have the tissue. I like the good stuff. So, I'm watching $, and it took me a moment. I'm just kind of whatever. And I remember there, in all of my annoyance and self-pity and all that, like I say, wallowing in how horrible life was at that moment, I am watching her, and I'm like, it must be so nice to just have something to focus on that you enjoy so much. It makes you laugh. And kids specifically, again, kids have that innocent, childlike laugh that we all are just enthralled by. And hearing that in the moment, it must be so nice. Again, it's tissue. And I love that little innocence of kids, because if it's not tissue, it could be a ball, an empty box, snow, it means the world to them in that moment. They love you for it. It's awesome. And I say, I remember kind of thinking it almost verbatim, but man, it must be nice. And I wish I had that thing to just be able to take away all my, annoyances and make me just feel nothing but love and innocence, and sitting there watching her and smiling. She's giggling and just throwing these tissues up. Oh my God. And I'm watching her for about 2 or 3 minutes before it sunk in. This is how happy I am, by the way. I'm sitting there, and I don't know if it was God at the time, but I got that slap in the face like, hey, dummy, you're literally engaged in what you're wishing you had, but you're so self-centered in the moment that you're not even seeing it. And then I just sat there for another 5 minutes until the box was empty. And she was just, it was falling, going over her face. And in my mind, initially I'm thinking, pull out 2 or 3 and then just keep throwing them. But no, she's going through the whole box. And again, initially I'm seeing $, cent sign. And then, like I say, that moment changed me, because again, to some people it may, and again, I've had it at different stages of my life, but it was another call to me to say, dude, slow down, and just sometimes, life is about balancing, looking back, looking forward, and enjoying the moment. And it's difficult. You have to be able to look back to learn, to gauge your process. You have to be able to look forward, to have a plan, plot where you're going, but you have to live in the moment to navigate the mistakes and things you want to bring with you from the past into the future, and navigating all of it. So sometimes it can be very hard to focus on the moment, other people, and I am very happy that, again, I'm stumbling my way through life, but I'm making it, and better late than never. So Gabby, I love you so much. You changed me so much, and this is just one way. This is one of many. You'll probably get sick of these eventually, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you guys about the banana story when Gabby outsmarted me. And maybe on the next one. So, sit here and enjoy this. Pick a nice spot. My glasses. I can't see. Now I'm going to shut up and let the birds sing to me. It's a cardinal.